Hi! Masking is a card making technique that allows you to get a particular look and one you really want to have in your wheelhouse. And if you've ever done it, have you been disappointed with that little bit of gap you get around the image? Well, today we're going to take care of that with a product that I found, and I'm going to show it to you while I demonstrate the technique of masking with the Still Night stamp set. The masking technique makes your stamp sets even more versatile. I'm Shelley Godby, the owner and CEO of Stamping Smiles, and for 17 years I've been teaching others how to create their own hand stamped smiles. The masking technique can save you time, which we can use to make even more handmade cards. Here's a closer view of the Still Night stamp set that I'll be using to demonstrate the masking technique and the coordinating Night Owl Thinlits dies. Both of these are from the 2018 Stampin' Up! Holiday Catalog, and when you order the two of them together using the special bundle item number I've listed right here, you'll save 10% on both. Okay, so the card I'm going to show you at the end that I use the masking technique on, yes, you could have used the framelit die for the owl, but I'm going to show you this technique for when there isn't a framelit die to go with your stamp set. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And what I have is some Whisper White Thick cardstock, and I chose Whisper White Thick cardstock because I'm going to be using the Stampin' blends to color it. And so I've got my Stamparatus all set up. This is a stamp positioning tool. Here we go. And I've got my plate, and we'll put my Whisper White Thick cardstock up here in the corner, and then I have my Tuxedo Black Memento ink pad. Well, if this doesn't look like yours, does yours look more like this? Well, I just love the big size of the Stampin' Up! Ink pads, so I made my own, and so I'll have a link to show you how I did that. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to pick up and slide that in, and you know what, I tend to make a mess, so a quick swipe on my stamping sleeves, and then we'll ink up our owl. Okay, and I love the coverage you get with the Stampin' Up! Pads. I'm getting darker images than I ever could with the original Memento ink pad, even though I kept adding ink. All right, so we'll just rub everywhere, and oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so I want him to set on the branch. And so the first time you try to do that, you may do something like this. Like, okay, so I have hinges from the top. I just thought it'd be easier to see from the side for demonstration instead of me constantly moving the Stamparatus around. Okay, so we're going to ink this up again. All right, and then, so we want him to sit on the branch, right? And so then we stamp. And I know from designing this card, I need to press more over here. Okay, so when I pick it up, like, oh, he's on the branch, but apparently he's transparent. That's not a good look. So what we need to do is called masking. All right, so let's start again. I've got Whisper White Thick cardstock again, and I'm going to switch this back out real quickly. Isn't that easy to do, though? All right, and this is exciting. Starting October 1st, you're going to have the ability to be able to get more of the plates. Okay, so let's ink him up again with our Tuxedo Black Memento ink pad and stamp. Okay, so now what we need to do is cover him up by stamping the owl again on another piece of paper. So what I quickly learned was cardstock was not a good mask, because when you stamp on cardstock and cut it out, it has some thickness to it, and you would have this line around there where it wasn't completely covered. Not a great look. So I would use paper from the printer because it was a lot thinner, and even then I still might have, call that a halo around it. And so look what I just discovered not too terribly long ago, and just thrilled. This is Inkadinkado stamping mask paper. It is really, really thin, and it has adhesive on it. So, because before that, I would use the Dotto adhesive that I love to hold my mask in place. Well, I don't have to. So I've got this really nice thin sheet and the adhesive all at the same time. So we need to stamp on this. And now, because when it came out of the package, the blue was on top, so I thought that was the stamping side. It's not. That's the backing for the adhesive. So make sure you stamp on the white side. And I don't want to waste it, so let me get up here in the corner. There we go. and stamp our owl. And there we go. So this is how we're going to create our mask. So then what you need to do is take your paper snips and trim this out. Okay, so when I do create my mask, I cut right up to the line because I don't want, you know, that halo, that void in the image. So right up to the line. Here we go. So to save a little bit of time, I have one all cut out. So there we go. So let's bring back our Whisper White thick cardstock with our stamped owl. Peel off that backing, and we'll place this right over top of our owl. And we're masking him. Okay, so now look what happens when we stamp with this gorgeous branch. And so I made a fall card with this, and I'll show you the card at the end. All right, so we need to ink this up again. There we go. Boy, I just felt myself touch that. A little quick swipe on my stamping sleeves. And press everywhere. You know what I love about the Stamp-A-Rad is if we don't do a good job getting it inked everywhere. Oh, okay, see I have a little bit right there. I didn't go. I can just, you know, it's going to go right back where it was. Oh, perfect. All right, so this is the part that's just so much fun. I love peeling off the mask. And look at that, no gap around it, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And so I have another type of masking I want to show you, and again, my favorite paper for that. So before I show you the other kind of masking, I want to do some coloring first with my Stampin' blends, and I have the light soft suede. Here we go. And boy, I love these markers. So I want to color the branch in before we do anything else. Here we go. Oh my goodness. And I just, the soft suede is such a pretty brown, and I really like it whenever I'm doing branches, trees and branches. Okay. And look at that tip. There are two different ones, but even the bigger brush end is so fine. You know, it has such a nice sharp tip that you can get into these fine areas. Yeah. Boy, these just make us look so good. And I don't mind if I go outside the line a little bit, especially when it's thin like this, so we can see the color. There we go. Masking is just one of my favorite techniques, because until I figured out how to do that, I had a stamp set I just didn't think I could even use. And then once I figured that out, I was like, oh, that is really cool. So let's go ahead and quickly use the dark for some shading. And we're just going to follow the lines that are already here, because I put those in for us. So it makes it really easy to know where to add some shading. Okay. Just gives it a little bit more depth. Not getting heavy-handed with it. There we go. Oh yeah, that looks good, huh? Okay, so now for the other type of masking. So what we do need to replace our mask that we used earlier, and that's what I love about this. You can use this over and over and over. So we're going to put this right back on top. So once you do it, I mean, that pack is going to last you a long time. Once you create your mask, just save it with your stamp set. I just want to make sure I have that right over top. Okay. And like I said, you can use it over and over and over. In just a bit, I'll show you the one that I've used, well, probably at least 10 times today. And let's just press everywhere. And so when I'm masking, I really want that adhesive to hold it in place for me. Okay, so what I want is a sun behind him. And so this time we're going to do what's called reverse masking. So I've got Whisper White thick cardstock, and basically what we're doing is making a template and my 2 1/4 inch circle punch. Let's press that lever and let's come down as far as we can. And you want your cardstock a little bit oversized because you don't want to get ink. If I made this really tight, it'd be really easy to get ink elsewhere. You'll see what I mean in just a second. Okay, so I want to place this where I want my sun to be. All right, and what we're doing is we're masking off the rest of the paper so we get ink only inside the circle. And so because this is pretty robust, I want a nice heavy piece of cardstock for this. I wouldn't want to use paper at all because as I'm sponging it, I'm sure I would end up wrinkling it and getting up and under. So I'm going to use the Crush Curry Classic Stampin' Pad. We're going to lift that up. Well, what in the world? There we go, and slide, and then just in case I got ink, because I sure don't want to smudge at this point. Okay, and I've got the stamping sponges. I cut them into quarters, make little wedges, easy to hang on to. So let's load up our brush. Okay, and so we have our mask in place, and then both masks, and we're going to sponge on some color. Okay, so you can see why you want a good size, because you wouldn't want to go over onto your cardstock making it just the right size. So let's get a little bit more and go around this outside. Make that a little bit deeper. And he's protected with the other mask that we did. Okay, and then we take that away. Doesn't that look good already? Okay, so let's a little push and pull in that lip. Aha, I must not have used that one very much. That pad's a little bit stiff yet. It'll get looser over time, but if you want to get it to be easier right away, I like to take a Q-tip and some petroleum jelly and just put it right in those slides, and it slides really easy. Okay, this is my favorite part. I just love peeling this away, because right now it's like, oh, that doesn't look so good, and you peel it away, and you're like, oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. And look, seriously, here's the mask that I used at least 10 times today, over and over and over, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'll just keep it with the stamp set. So let me show you the finished card. We've done 2 types of masking. We've learned 2 types of paper that Inka Dinka do, right? Masking, stamping mask paper. I have a link to where I picked that up on Amazon. And then the cardstock for the reverse masking. And isn't that nice? A fall card with the Still Night stamp set. And so I'll tell you a couple things here. I used the Squares Framelits dies to die cut into the cardstock. And this is from the Country Lane Designer Series paper in the holiday catalog. The Sending Warm Wishes is part of the Still Night stamp set. And I used the oval die included with the dies, yeah, to do that. And then here we've got the twine from the holiday catalog just as well. And I will have a link to my blog post with all the supplies and the measurements to make my autumn Still Night card. If you'd like to make my Still Night fall card, all the supplies are listed below the video and available to order now in my online store, www.shopwithshelly.com. And if you'd like more of my stamping tips, well, I invite you to subscribe to the Stampers Insider. It's your free stamping source for inspiration, information, and ideas. Just go now to www.thestampersinsider.com to subscribe. I'm Shelley Godbee, teaching you how to create hand stamp smiles. Thanks for watching.